long-term aspirations. Fortunately, Africa is blessed with vast natural resources, but to fully benefit from these riches, we must encourage our young people to think beyond convention, to question the current state of affairs, and to explore new ways of solving problems. As an entrepreneur and an industrialist, with several years of experience spanning from my youthful days, I had the privilege of building businesses that span across diverse sectors. That is from importation, manufacturing, mining, media, banking, insurance, real estate, among others. My journey has not been without challenges, but it has been duly and deeply rewarding. In all my years of experience, one key factor has consistently sustained my businesses, an unwavering appetite for innovation. And came as no wonder when last year, Yale University awarded me African Symposium, the most innovative African personality. Innovation has been my hallmark, and I'm always driven to explore alternative approaches that deliver not only economic values, but also social and environmental impact. Today, we live in a global world where environment has many challenges, and it is for us to ensure that we are environment friendly. That said, the journey of entrepreneurship can often feel lonely. Breaking new grounds requires persistence and sometimes solitude. But it is in these moments that the power of partnership and collaboration becomes very essential over time. Remember, entrepreneurship is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It demands an exquisite mindset, a hunger for change, and the courage to act. To stay committed, keep doing the right things. Sooner than you expect, you will reach your goals and make a meaningful difference in life. Data from the African Development Bank reveals that more than 60% of young entrepreneurs in Africa lack adequate financing to start or to expand their businesses. Traditional financial institutions often perceive youth-led enterprise as high risk, further complicating access to critical setups and growth. In many African countries, it continues to be a significant barrier, particularly for young entrepreneurs with innovative ideas and limited resources. As a result, many enterprising youth with viable business ideas find themselves locked out of funding opportunities simply because they lack a formal financial footprint. This financial inclusion serves as a significant barrier to youth-led innovations and entrepreneurship. Without sufficient capital, even the most promising business ideas cannot materialize. Preventing access. When used strategically, it opens doors to investors, collaborators, and supporters who might otherwise remain out of reach. However, networking alone is not enough. The rare master key to unlocking business finance lies in a combination of diligence, transparency, and credibility. African entrepreneurs must be prepared to demonstrate value, show commitment, and maintain honesty in their dealings. Entrepreneurship is no longer just about having a great idea. It's about developing the capacity to learn from others, including the shared experiences of industry leaders, mentors, and peers. Successful entrepreneurs don't isolate themselves. They don't live on islands. They stay plugged into the broader business ecosystem, seeking wisdom and guidance wherever possible. Not long ago, I personally made a decision to pursue professional certification as a chartered accountant. This wasn't just a career milestone. It was a strategic move to deepen my understanding of the financial structure of business. It was not to change my job as an entrepreneur and become an accountant. It was just to help me understand the bills that I was doing, and it's helped me a lot. For me, education doesn't or wasn't a detour for entrepreneurship. It was an investment into it. Indeed, a great entrepreneur is someone who can assemble the right team to execute the vision. But it is equally important for the entrepreneur to have working knowledge across different aspects of their businesses, from finance to marketing, from operations to product development. After all, the entrepreneur carries the greatest share of the risk when a project fails. It's dangerous to rely solely on the advice of others without having the capacity to critically assess and challenge our case. Both active and passive learning, whether through formal education, mentorship, reading, or simply absorbing trends, these are our essential tools. They allow entrepreneurs not just to react to the market, but to anticipate it, innovate within it, and build solutions that address the needs of tomorrow's society. The road to entrepreneur success is paved with curiosity, discipline, and the willingness to grow. Let us embrace education and mentorship, not just as options, but as an essential building blocks to create businesses that are innovative, resilient, and to build and help it to last. In a world of constant change, the best entrepreneurs are not just doers, they are learners and performers. They are people who think innovatively, people who think outside the box. Establishing a sustainable business ecosystem in Africa presents both a profound opportunity and a complex challenge. It demands the alignment of economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental responsibility. At the heart of this transformation is infrastructure development, which serves as a key enabler for long-term sustainability. Equally important is the development of efficient transport system, which will ease the movement of goods and services across our borders, reduce logistical costs, and stimulate regional trade. Today, Ghana sits as the head office of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA. And this is a very young market, which I believe most people can take advantage of. There are open borders where trade can be done in between our countries without any hinges and any problems. In parallel, expanding in digital infrastructure is vital to support the growing wave of tech-driven enterprises and enable broader financial and informational access. African policymakers therefore have a crucial role to play by enhancing forward-thinking regulations and introducing tax incentives for the youth of this generation, especially Africans. Ultimately, the creation of sustainable business ecosystem in Africa will hinge on collaborative efforts between governments and the private sector. Only through coordinated strategies, shared investments, and innovative thinking can we build an ecosystem that fosters inclusive growth, protects the environment, and delivers rare value for future generations. Empowering Africans' youth demand a collective and sustained effort across multiple sectors. Governments, educational institutions, private enterprises, international organizations, and the youth themselves must commit to coordinated strategic actions. Through measurable and impactful interventions, we can ensure young Africans actively shape their destinies and become leaders and innovators in the global arena. To our government leaders, I urge you to prioritize youth empowerment in national development strategies, invest in education, infrastructure, and create enabling environments for youth entrepreneurship. Develop policies that are not just youth-friendly, but youth-focused, recognizing that the youth are not merely beneficiaries of development, but active agents of change. To educational institutions, I call on you to reimagine education, focus on developing the skills and competencies required for the 21st century, forge meaningful partnerships with industry to ensure that curriculum remain relevant and responsive to market needs. Embrace technology as a tool for expanding access to quality education and creating innovative learning experiences, especially in this era of AI. To our private sector, government alone cannot shoulder the responsibility. So I challenge you to see Africans not as a challenge, but as an opportunity. Invest in youth-led enterprises, create employment opportunities, and engage in meaningful corporate social responsibility initiatives that empower young people, mentor young entrepreneurs, and provide them with the guidance and support they need to succeed. To our developed partners and international organizations, I invite you to align your interventions with national priorities and to invest in sustainable empowerment initiatives. Share knowledge, expertise, and resources, but do so in a manner that will respect Africans' unique context. that will help build local capacity. In the Group of Africa, I call on you to take ownership of your own destiny, develop your skills, pursue your passions, and leverage your creativity and innovation to address the challenges facing our continent. Be ambitious enough to want to succeed on your own terms. You will also need to have a clarity about what you are trying to achieve in your life. Only then will you be able to take necessary steps required to reach that ultimate goal. Whether they are large or small, your everyday actions, activities, and encounters ultimately determines your success. Success comes with persistence, commitment, and hard work combined together. Only this can lead you to success. But one thing you must never lose sight of: to be successful, you may have to go through some failures, and you need to be able to face those failures fearlessly if you want to pursue your goals. Many people don't take risks because they fear failure, and I'm tempted to say those are the people who never become successful in life. Naturally, those people would have failed by default. So let's collaborate, let's network, let's support each other. Remember that we are not just leaders of today, but the change makers of tomorrow. In conclusion, Africa does not lack talent, it does not lack ambition. What we must do is remove the barriers that stand in the way of progress and create an environment where ideas can flourish, businesses can thrive. Each of us, whether we are leaders in government, captains of industry, educators, investors, or mentors, we all have a role to play. This is not just the senior person's journey, it is a collective mission. A mission to empower a generation that is not only ready to lead, but is eager to transform the African continent from within. Let us invest not in businesses, but in people. Let us support not just ideas, but ecosystems. The future of Africa is not something we wait for. It is something we build together. And I believe that that future should begin now. By addressing the challenges of the youth unemployment, skills mismatch, limited access to capital, and inadequate infrastructure, can create an environment where young Africans can thrive and succeed. One thing we should remember is that the agent in Africa depends on the youth, unlike here where there are insurances to cover the agent. So once the youth is empowered, in a way, you are helping the agent. Through comprehensive educational system, enhanced financial inclusion, strategic infrastructure investments, and supportive policy frameworks can unlock the full potential of African youth. The vision I present today is not merely a dream or fantasy. It is achievable. It is attainable. It requires action, sustained commitment, collective one, collaboration effort, and the roles will be prosperous, peaceful, and a progressive Africa that we shall all be proud of in the near future. So I ask you, whether you are an investor, a policymaker, or a mentor, are you willing to be part of the generation that didn't just talk about Africa's voice, but help deliver it? Because history is not written by chance, it is written by choice. And the time to choose is now. It rests with us all, especially our leaders. How do we help the youth of Africa? How do we help the youth of Africa? Let us act collectively, decisively, and strategically to secure a future in which Africans will lead confidently and with by the year 2040. Thank you, and God bless you.
Let's do it again for him. Let's do it again for him. A lot to reflect on. I don't even know where to start, so I'll leave that to you in the Q&A session. But what I picked was leveraging technology, especially AI. And I remember moderating a session yesterday, and there was a secretary of education of a certain country, remain anonymous. Then she went like, you know what, we want to drive down A1 down to grade 1. We must drive down the adoption of A1. You know what he meant by A1? Ladies and gentlemen, we've listened to Dr. Ernest Oforisabor. I now turn to you, our wonderful guest, for the Q&A session. Concise, brief, Harvard question. Please put up your hand. Please, your name and then where you're coming from.
Emmanuel Echampo. I was struck when you pointed out a special friendship and how this friend also was a partner and how it was built on trust and integrity. Values that are not easy to find these days. So you were blessed in that. And so I'm curious, what do you think about the possibility of maybe a group of businessmen like you in Ghana creating some kind of incubation where youth can pitch ideas and you can pick a few that have promise, help them shape it, give them a little seed money to see how it grows. You pointed out that we can't leave it to government alone. Is there some way we can incubate good business ideas with a little good seed money? Maybe find a few professors from the universities who will help with law and contract and this so that they are equipped. And then we launch a few to see if they can grow. And then we are expanding our ecosystem.
Thank you, Prof. Doc, how would you prefer it? About the questions or just one of the other?
You have an initiative for they call it Silicon Executive
Thank you
Club.
for that question.
Very
Basically,
important.
equipping someone comes in two forms. One is financial, the other is sharing ideas with the person. And I believe that is why I'm here this afternoon. I do a lot of entrepreneurship programs back home in Ghana. And these are ways of equipping people that we call the upcoming ones. So we would have it in mind, like you've mentioned. There is that possibility. When I go back, I'll look at forming such a group and seeing how we can support them in any little way that we can. But basically, we've been doing entrepreneurship lessons, and that's why I'm here today, to equip people with the knowledge that we have already. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Iba Gaza. My question it goes to the African banking system, right? So for years, we talk about how African leaders are not doing enough. But also we forget there's the elephant in the room nobody addressed is the banking system, where you have the loans being given at 22%. For an entrepreneur, if you're starting a business, they start with the money, which is so expensive. That means you have to have almost a profit margin which is above 22%. And now if you live in a globalist systems, now you have somebody who competing with you coming from the United States with a money of 3% interest rates. And it makes it so hard for a local company to even have a chance to compete with a international company, right? So my question is, who is actually responsible to bring the interest rates down so they can actually be money in the system for our businessmen as well as entrepreneurs to have access to capital? Thanks.
Thank you. Over to you, Doc.
Thank you. Yeah, he's right. Interest rates in Ghana are so high, or for that matter, Africa. And like he's rightly saying, there are a lot of international companies back home who enjoy facilities that they get from outside our territories. And those facilities come with very low interest rates. So to a certain extent, we do not have an even playing field with certain foreign companies or multinational companies. It's a big problem in Africa. What I can say is that we need to keep on building an enabling environment to try to raise funding from outside Ghana. And also, government has to ensure that maybe interest rates come down. It's not that easy, but the best is to try to see how best we can source the funding from outside our territories. And one thing I would urge you or entreat you all is to try to let people down here understand that the environment back home is quite enabling. It is good for business, and this is a time that you need to take advantage. You need to promote, we need to promote Africa, to let people understand that investing back home in Africa is one of the best. And I'm sure through some of the people that you know who can come and invest, they environment will become better, and then, for some of us, we would have better way of accessing funding. And that is the only way we can compete with these multinational companies. Currently, they've totally eclipsed most of our companies because of that bridge, the bridge in that gap. So it's quite worrying. It's quite worrying. We'll look at how to solve this problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll look at how to solve this problem. Unfortunately, that's the last question. I just received instructions from my bosses. So we'll continue the engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, as Dr. Oforisako takes his seat, let's give him a round of applause. We also have a special guest amongst us here today, and that is the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, Professor Adama Diawara, and his delegation. Can you give us a wave, please? So for those interested in understanding education through the Francophone lens, Professor Diawara will be in the breakout session 7. You may want to go there, but you speak in French, by the way. Thank you so much for being very cooperative. We now move to our breakout session and then come back for the last wonderful, equally wonderful session. Have a wonderful breakout session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
Welcome.
That was fantastic.
Yes, so much learning. Too short. Please. After, like, you are available to mentor.
It's still not too late.
Yes.
So for those who want to start,
Yes. That is.
For those who want, one-on-one session with Dr. Oforisako, he is here to interact with you. If you need one-on-one session with Dr. Ernest Oforisako, feel free to come and interact with him.
Go to the background. The background.
It doesn't matter with me. Huh?
yeah.
Such a great photographer.
Yeah.
He was right. Mission.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll do it, please. Why not? I can do that.